Hey folks, it's Adam with Adirondack Bowhunters, and in this week's episode of the Pro-Staff Tip of the Week, I'm going to be discussing tips and strategies for tree stand placement and how it can increase your chances of taking a deer this fall. Okay folks, so what I've got here is a tree stand that I'm just about to place in this pine tree behind me that overlooks a small clover plot that's maybe a quarter to a half acre in size. This specific area is located just east of an apple orchard that we have up on top of a hill here, and the bedding area for this spot is just over this hill, and then up in here behind me is another spot where they bed. So there's a little bit of strategy that went into setting this tree stand, and I think most of what I'm going to discuss with you today is pretty much universal. All of these different things are going to help you when it comes to increasing your odds of taking a deer out of a tree stand this upcoming season. So one of the first things that I want to discuss, and I believe it's the most important thing when it comes to placing your tree stands, is wind direction. Wind direction is the most important thing in the world. You can wear all the scent control products you want. It's not going to completely eliminate your scent, and when it comes to mature bucks especially, it's just not going to cut it. You really need to pay attention to the wind. So the first thing that I did when I looked at this plot is I said, where am I going to set up where the prevailing winds are going to work in my favor? And this tree just happens to be that spot. The winds in this spot blow mostly south to north, and therefore I'm setting it up at the north end of the plot so that the wind will always be in my face. The deer will be coming from the southeast. So they're going to be, as long as I have a wind that's blowing either directly south, southwest, or any other direction, I'm good in this spot. So this tree stand that I'm setting up also overlooks a small little knoll where I cut out some of the brush and created a staging plot for this larger plot here. And I've had a trail camera set up here probably for the past month and a half, and I've been getting a lot of really good pictures of does, a couple nice pictures of some bucks. But my main priority for this tree stand is an early season doe stand. I plan on shooting my doe out of here on the opening week of the season. And I've got plenty of trail cam pictures that have got me fairly confident that it's going to happen right on that knoll or down here in this food plot. I'm not sure yet. So what I want to do is I want to make sure that when I'm setting up my tree stand that it's going to be facing the right direction, the wind is going to be blowing the right way, I'm going to have coverage of the trails, and I need to make sure the most important thing other than the wind direction is making sure that you have the opportunity to make a good, clean, ethical shot. So the way that I'm doing that is I'm just going to clear some shooting lanes out to about 20 yards, and when I'm done doing that, I'm going to range from in my tree stand, I'm going to range the distance out to 20 yards, and I'm going to flag that off in different spots. The reason that I do that is because, as you guys know, I self-film my hunts, and I really need, my goal is to really cut down on the amount of movement that I need to make in the tree stand in order to shoot a deer on film. So instead of whipping out the rangefinder and trying to figure out what yardage I'm shooting at or trying to guess, I just do it now. I flag the spot off, and that way I know where 20 yards is when the season comes. I don't have to guess, I don't have to range find. If a deer is out further than that, then that's a different story. If the deer is out at 30 yards, it's going to be pretty easy for me to guess where 30 yards is if I already have a flag out at 20. So that's another thing that I like to do with all my tree stand setups, is set up markers for yardages. That way you don't have to guess, you don't have to range find when you're in. So stick with me here, keep your eyes peeled, watch what I do, and when I'll show you guys the finished product here when I'm all done. Stay tuned. Alright folks, well, I just finished up putting the tree stand in this tree. I got all the shooting lanes cut. I've ranged all my 20-yard markers out in the food plot, as well as up in behind me here in this staging plot that I have. So this is one spot down, ready to go, good for the season. So I hope you guys learned something today, a little bit about the proper way to set up your tree stands for hunting different areas. A lot of it has to do with the wind, making sure that you have shooting lanes, making sure that you're able to take your shots with minimal movement, and setting up in an area where you know the deer are going to be coming into. I came in earlier this summer with trail cameras, and I know specifically what times these deer are coming in here on average, when they're coming, when they're going, what they're doing. So this spot, I've got it down, ready to go. Next move is to set my trail cameras up in another area and get a new tree stand set up. By the time the season's all said and done on my farm here, I've got roughly 200 acres that's bordered by properties that don't hunt. So I'm going to have roughly 7 to 8 different tree stands set up to cover all the different areas out here. So stay tuned. I'm going to try to cover some of these other tree stands so you guys can get a better feel for how to set up a tree stand to increase your odds for this upcoming season. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the Adirondack Bowhunters Pro-Staff Tip of the Week. Please stay tuned for our next episode.